A young couple marries in the early 1980s in a small Arab city. The marriage begins with hope. But within a few years, cracks appear. Financial pressure builds, communication breaks down. Arguments become routine. Both families notice, both families intervene. The advice is always the same: patience, endurance, reconciliation, and if there are kids, they're the priority. Divorce is mentioned, but quickly dismissed. Too risky, too shameful, too damaging, too final in the eyes of the community. So the couple stays together, not necessarily because the marriage heals, but because the cost of leaving is far too high. Now, fast forward to the 2020s, another Arab couple, similar background, similar conflicts, but this time the environment is vastly different. Divorce is mentioned, and soon thereafter, it happens. Two marriages, similar problems, different outcomes. This isn't a one-off. This is a transformational phenomenon taking place all across the Arab world. What's happening? One quick thing I want to clarify about divorce in the Arab and Muslim world is that in no way does it mimic the complexities of divorce in other faiths, say Judaism and Christianity. Islam didn't invent marriage as an unbreakable bond. Instead, it created a structured system for ending marriages when they became harmful or unsustainable. For the 7th century, many of these mechanisms were remarkably advanced. Yet, despite these mechanisms, divorce often remained rare across the Arab world because social pressure was far stronger than legal permission. Families, tribes, villages, and communities frequently discouraged divorce regardless of what religious law allowed. The issue was often not, can we divorce? The issue was, what will people say if we get divorced? Ali Al-Wardi put it perfectly. Society often imposes restrictions that are stronger than the law itself. But when looking into the Arab world's recent history, almost 5 decades ago, we start to notice a slow but growing accumulation of pressure mounting on marriages. And by the turn of the millennium, the institution of marriage would be hit hard with a myriad of societal changes and reforms, leading to an explosion in divorce rates. One could ask again, if divorce was always permitted within Islamic law, then why are we hearing so much about it just now? The answer begins with the numbers. In the 1980s, divorce certainly existed, but it was far less visible. In many Arab societies, marriage remained deeply connected to family honor and social reputation. Rare demographic studies from the late 20th century suggest that several Arab countries had fairly low divorce rates. Egypt, for example, saw rates at around the 8 to 10% mark that then rose to 14% by the 1990s. Algeria experienced similar rates in the 1980s at around the 13 to 15% mark. Tunisia remained relatively stable at around 15% during much of the 1980s and up to the 1990s. The real turning point came after the year 2000. Across the Arab world, divorce rates began climbing at a pace that surprised governments, religious institutions, and sociologists alike. By the 2010s and early 2020s, several Arab countries were reporting some of the highest divorce levels in their modern history. Recent regional studies identified Kuwait as having one of the highest divorce rates in the Arab world, with roughly 48% of marriages ending in divorce. Egypt followed at around 40%, Jordan at approximately 37%, as well as Qatar. The UAE and Lebanon have both reported figures at around the 34% mark. Just for reference's sake, the average rates in the North America, Europe, and East Asia regions are between 46 to 50%, 40 to 55%, and 35 to 46%, respectively. What makes this trend remarkable is its geographical spread. The increase is visible in Gulf countries, North Africa, and the Levant. It appears in wealthy states as well as the poorer states. It appears in conservative societies and more liberal ones. Something larger than religion, economics, or politics is taking place. The rise in divorce is not the story of one country, it's the story of a region undergoing profound social transformation. So, what changed? What happened in Arab societies just before the year 2000 that has led to one of the most significant escalations in divorce rates across the planet? How did the social barriers that once kept so many marriages together weaken so dramatically in such a short period of time? Mohammed Al-Jabri gives us a hint here. Social structures change when the conditions that created them disappear. Please check out our new course on how to navigate Arab identity in today's world, how to define and pinpoint yourself within the various tensions found in the duality of tradition and modernity, the foundations that make us unique, even our contradictions. Unapologetically Arab is a 13-chapter course intent on helping anyone interested in appreciating what it means to be an Arab. Join now by clicking on the link in the video description at either Thinkific or Patreon and begin your empowering journey of Arab discovery. Among all the factors that have contributed to rising divorce rates across the Arab world, perhaps none has been more significant than the transformation of women's lives over the past 50 years. The modern Arab woman lives in a very different world than her grandmother. On the educational front, female secondary school and university attendance expanded dramatically. Women increasingly outperformed men academically in many Arab countries. Nawal al-Sa'dawi echoes this reality. Education is the path through which women gain the ability to shape their own lives. In the professional world, more women are entering professional careers, leading to greater financial independence. What's important to understand is that education and employment didn't cause divorce on their own. What they did do, however, was provide a choice that was absent before. In the past, for many women, leaving an unhappy marriage carried enormous risks. Divorce could mean financial hardship, social isolation, and uncertainty about the future. This doesn't mean women were content in unhappy marriages. Rather, many simply had fewer options available to them. Beyond the statistics and the rising independence of women in the Arab world, we should examine a much deeper transformation that has taken place over the past several generations. For centuries, marriage in Arab societies was rarely viewed as a relationship between two individuals alone. It was often a union between families, clans, tribes, and entire communities. When an Arab man and woman married, they didn't simply join their lives together. Their families became connected as well. If problems emerged, relatives intervened. Elders mediated disputes. Community members encouraged getting back together. Marriage was therefore supported by a wider social structure that extended far beyond the couple themselves. This collective approach created stability. It also created pressure. Many couples remained together simply because separation would affect not only them, but their family's reputation and standing within the community. Divorce was often seen as a collective failure rather than a private decision. Over the last several decades, this model has gradually weakened. Urbanization moved millions of people away from their extended families. Smaller households replaced large multi-generational homes. Young people increasingly chose their own spouses rather than relying on family networks. Modern communication and global culture introduced new ideas about personal freedom, self-fulfillment, and individual rights. As a result, marriage began to change. Increasingly, people entered marriage seeking emotional compatibility, personal happiness, and shared life goals. The success of a marriage became measured less by family approval and more by the satisfaction of the individuals involved. This shift has fundamentally altered how divorce is viewed. In the past, I personally experienced this shift in my mindset. Well, maybe more of a debate than a shift. What would my divorce mean to my family, my friends, and community versus what would the divorce mean for me? More people today are leaning towards the latter position. To be honest, neither approach is entirely right or entirely wrong. The traditional model sometimes preserved marriages that were unhappy or unhealthy. At the same time, that same traditional model sometimes preserved marriages long enough for them to flourish and to rebuild. The modern model, on the other hand, offers greater personal freedom. but can also make relationships more fragile when challenges arise. The rise in divorce may therefore reflect something much larger than marriage itself. It may be evidence of a profound shift in how Arab societies understand the relationship between the individual and the community, and where responsibility for family life ultimately resides. With stats confirming the immense explosion of divorce rates, and with women achieving higher involvement and impact across Arab societies, and with the decline of the community's expectations and the rise in the demands of the individual in marriages, the social stigma associated with divorce is rapidly decreasing. The costs associated with divorce that once operated as obstacles for a couple in trouble, family embarrassment, gossip, reputation damage, or reduced future marriage opportunities, still exist, but are fading by the minute. Expectations have risen, and nothing today will block the attainment of an individual's end goal of happiness, emotional connection, and personal fulfillment. I'm going to quote Ali al-Wardi here again. Human beings seek freedom, but society continually seeks to restrain them. And Arab society today is losing that fight on many fronts. My main observation that comes out of all this discussion revolves around the Arab family. It has survived so many challenges: colonialism, conflict, migration, and many technological revolutions. Now it faces another challenge: the decline of collective authority and the rise of individual choice. And that leaves us with many difficult questions. Was the older model more stable? Or was it simply better at hiding unhappy marriages? Has modern society created greater freedom? Or has it weakened the institutions that held families together? Is rising divorce a sign of Arab social decline? Or is it evidence that people now have choices previous generations never had? The oneness and power of family was always something we as Arabs felt truly proud of. But now, with surging divorce numbers rocking this foundation, the real question is whether Arab societies can build a new model of family stability in a world where tradition no longer has the same power as it once did.